Today on the Big Dog Holler Barbecue channel, we are making some smoked corn ribs. So stay tuned and find out how we made them. Welcome to the Holler, everybody. To get these corn ribs started here, what we have in front of me is 6 ears of Indiana corn. And then if we look over to my right, Marty has brought us a couple other ingredients. We have some Rural King Texas style rub, some olive oil from True Goodness by Meyer, as well as some St. Louis Soul BBQ Sauce from Fresh Thyme. So let's go ahead and get this corn shucked, I should say, and we'll be right back. All right, so we have all 6 of our ears of corn shucked. The mountain just disassembled itself, but that's not a problem. As you can see, still some of the silk is on the outside of the ears, but that's just going to burn off in the grill itself, so not too worried about that. What we're going to do, we're going to grab ourselves a bowl over here to throw the ribs into, and then I'm going to move some of this to the side and grab a sharp knife. We're going to go to the ends of each of these ears and take off one end, get that thrown away, flip it over to the other side, take off the other end. Whew, best with a sharp knife in this situation. And I'm going to go ahead and cut this right down the middle. That should create a pretty nicely even rib section on both sides here. There we go. And then what we're going to do, we're going to go down the middle of each of these half cobs. Nice and slow. There we go. Pretty even there. And then we're going to take the half of our half here and go down the middle once more. Careful with your fingers. Again, try your best to use a nice sharp knife. Get those somewhat even as possible there. As you can see, that one is a little bit smaller, but that shouldn't be too big of a problem there. But we're going to finish the rest of these and be right back. So after the aftermath of getting our ribs, we do still have 2 ears of corn left. Stay tuned next week for our video as we're going to use the cobs from these corn ears to smoke some ribs rather than doing corn ribs in that video. But we have our bucket here. We're going to use our True Goodness olive oil. Get a nice coating on top there, and then we'll give it a nice mixture. Try to make sure everything is evenly coated without knocking off too many of the kernels. And then to our mixture here, we're going to add some of the Rural King Texas style barbecue rub. Just nice and even over the top, and then we'll give it another mix. That olive oil is going to create a nice binder on these ribs and allow them to stick much better than they would otherwise. So now that our corn ribs are nicely seasoned, we're going to meet you out at the Masterbuilt Gravity Series 560, currently cranking it up to 300 degrees to get a nice little smoke before we sear these off. So we're out here at the Masterbuilt, currently fired up with some Tractor Supply Co. Mesquite Lump charcoal, as well as just one chunk of some Apple Bear Mountain barbecue woods. Currently running off our Blue Eddy PS54. As I stated, we have it just under 300 degrees. It should be ticking up there any moment, but we're going to go ahead and get these on there. This is not where we're trying to sear them. We're trying to get a nice light smoke incorporated in each rib here. And we're going with the inside portion down on the grates. Let me get that one flipped. And again, this is just a nice light smoke. We'll let these run 15 to 20-ish minutes, and then we will crank up the Masterbuilt to roughly 400 degrees and give these a nice little sear. Alright, so these corn ribs have been on our smoker for roughly 15 minutes at this point. We are currently bumping up our Masterbuilt to 400 degrees. Hopefully you can hear that sizzle. And we're going to go ahead and get these kernels all facing down at this point. And at this point, we're just looking for a nice black char on each of these ribs. Then we'll come back out, flip them over, sauce them, and let them tack up from there. And we should be pretty much done. A good sign in something like this, as you can see, they're starting to curve a little bit, so that's exactly what we're looking for here. So after another 5 minutes with the kernels facing down on the grill, let's take a look at everything. As you can see, I have a nice char on each of these ribs. So we're gonna come in with our St. Louis Soul BBQ sauce here and give them a nice glaze on top of each of these ribs. Let it tack up for a couple minutes, and then we will get these pulled off our smoker. So we have all of our corn ribs pulled off the smoker. As you can see, they all have some great char as well as that sauce tacked up really nicely. We snuck a couple bites off camera. They have a great sweetness from the sauce, but the corn itself has a really good sweetness as well. Some of the more charred pieces almost start tasting like a popcorn. So it's a really unique little appetizer, or I guess you could serve it as a fun entree for over the summer here, especially if you're in the Midwest like ourselves. But there you have it, corn ribs, Big Dog Holler style. Whoever eats the most gets the most, so dig in.